G'day everyone, my name is Stephen Peristes. Welcome to my channel, Archiscale. I'm the director of Archiscale and the architect here at Archiscale, or one of the architects anyway. Today we're going to talk about a project that I just completed. It's been requested by subscribers for me to talk about my design, and so thus after this talk about the design, I will show you an animation with a bit of music of the project itself, so you'll be able to see some nice 3D renders that I do after this. So I'll talk about the solar axis firstly of the site. This property is located in the outskirts of Beaumaris, which is within a couple of 100 meters away from our beaches here. It's not a holiday house, it's actually a home for people to live in this every day. So the brief here was the house had to be, of course, economical to run and at the same time capture the views of the beach. So I'm just going to let it generate here, so you can see in Google here where roughly the beach is. So we have it coming through all the way down to here, and it's a quite odd site because, of course, a lot of the properties around this area are trying to respond to the beach, and so you have these little roads that are, I guess, the roads entries to the backyards of the properties that are located on this side where our client's house property is. So their main road is actually from the west side of the property, and so a lot of these mansions that are next to it have their backyard fences running along this road here. So the streetscape itself is quite harsh with fences. On the other side of the road is where you get to see a bit of a streetscape of homes and a rhythm going on the type of architecture that's in that area. In our particular property, we have north coming from the back. So here in Australia, north is where our sun comes from. Overseas, of course, it's the south side. So north comes from the back, south is from the, well, I guess you've got two backs, haven't you? But north is coming from this back side where the garage is, and then the south side is where the views are. So my living spaces actually are placed here on the south side, of course, to take advantage of the views. That was probably what was more important to the client than anything else. But this is where the challenge comes, is trying to respond to capturing the view and taking advantage of solar axis. So you'll notice there's a bit of glazing going on around here and located in a specific way to take advantage of these. So on the east side, you'll find where the facade of the home is I have these Veluxes, double glazed windows. Maybe a couple of these will be openable because being a void internally, which I'll show you in a second. I have these windows sort of articulating around this wall here, which is where the east side is. So if I go just in the inside, you'll understand it a little bit better. So it's a feature, I guess, a feature wall, but slash, allowing that sun to penetrate through. You'll notice that the sun comes quite well into the building by doing that. And you'll see the void, how it sort of comes up into like a little cathedral area with a living space showing off these Veluxes. But these will sort of come in very handy when these windows are not being used by the sun anymore. And so at the moment I'm at 9 o'clock in the morning, if you can see up here, and if I go to 12 o'clock, you see that the sun now more comes from the skylights, so you're getting filtering a lot of sun at that time, which is what we want. And the other thing that we've done as well is as a feature too, is from right up above that, there's a sort of upstairs, there's a second living space, and that second living space comes out to this balcony. So from the balcony, you'll be able to see down into the TV. So if you did have the TV running, you'll be able to actually see that screen from up there. And vice versa, if you have a few people up there and there's this connection between the space down the bottom and the space at the top, so it's not at all in any way disconnected. So if if you're entertaining, there could be these two elements that have this connection together at one time. I've had to screen, of course, the west side, because along here we have people's properties and backyards and two-story overlooking. That's why I have my private open space on this side of the house, not to capture the north sun, of course, the east sun, but to keep that privacy, because these homes that are located here are probably the 1950s sort of style home, which in due time will be built new homes, and who knows what the response will be at the time. So in terms of more glazing that I've put here at the front is in response now to the angles of the sun. So the angle I've taken here of the roof is approximately 24 to 26 degrees. So I'm taking this degrees more for the winter sun, because during the summer sun, the sun will be a lot higher. So your sun will be penetrating a lot. You'll be creating more of a shade with the angle that I've created. So in the winter, when the sun is a lot lower, is when the sun will be able to penetrate through these windows a lot better, and take advantage of that north sun in that winter time. So, and thus the response by doing that, being this is the south side, I have this large catchment of water that I could get from the rain, and sort of divert the water at one location straight into my water tanks. And you'll notice on the other side, where the alfresco is, where that balcony is, I've actually angled the roof as well, and I've chosen to do that there more to create a response with this look that I'm trying to create as well, and more importantly, I'm going to have solar panels on top of this. So I thought it was important on a big home like this. If you're going to you're going to run this to be economical, you're going to have some good solar panels, or enough kilowatts where you can run this home. So one of the disadvantages with a lot of homes, you can probably max it out to about 3.2 kilowatts, which is probably around about eight panels themselves at 250 watt per panel. So here I have roughly around about 150 square meters of area where I can run up to about 5, maybe to 6 kilowatts of panels at 300 watts per panel. So and obviously taking that angle is around about 12 degrees, 30 degrees. So that way I'm not using any type of stands or brackets to angle those panels themselves. They can just lay flat with the roof. It looks quite stealth that way, and it doesn't take away anything from the home. The windows here on the foyer where you enter in, there'll be like a void that when you do enter in the building, that will filter that sun right through. So, and then you got this crosswind breeze from east to west, where these windows on one side and the window on the other side could be open and create this cross breeze from the area that it's in too. Near the beach, you're going to get a lot of that. And then it's up to us, of course, to run maybe some mechanical vents to divert that air or that breeze throughout the home in different spaces. And that's something that we can do again with solar. So just talk about the entry of the building. It was a part of the brief where the client didn't want to be able to come directly into the front door, so there had to be sort of a security gate before you enter. So I didn't want it to be a door right at the front of where the fence is. I thought I should sort of get rid of the harshness of that fence firstly and start to smooth it out. And since people are going to be parking in a driveway, have the entry coming from the side of the fence, so people will enter through here. There'll be an intercom or a light greeting them. You'll notice that I've expressed this entry so that you know where the entry is, and there'll be a nice intercom with a camera right here, so the client can see who's coming in and out. I've used some type of screening here. I haven't blocked it off like I have on the other side of the fence, more just for security. So if she's in there, there's still that visibility from the street. You never know who's hiding in there. And you'll notice even the fence itself, I've sort of set it back 1 metre just to get rid of that harshness of that wall. And I've added these elements into the fence itself, sort of go with the facade of the home, so it looks like more of a facade than just a fence itself. Remember, the private open spaces are right behind this, so they have to be at a height where no one's going to overlook. You'll notice with the garages, there's actually like 2 garages. One's a double garage, one's a single garage. Initially, when the design, we had made this 1 garage, but then I thought, being in this near the beach, boating is something that people will love around this culture, around this area. So I've allowed for a good distance of 13 metres, 12 metres of setback here. And that allows for a beautiful bay liner, 23 footer to park there or store there. The height of this roller door too is at a 24.50 to allow for the boat to go inside for servicing, I guess, and storage. Still giving access to the car spaces for the client and his wife to come through. You'll notice that I've chosen a ColourBond material, corrugated ColourBond material. Now, the client initially said to me that he didn't want any of this sort of material, and I thought if I put render on this south side, it's only going to take about a year for it to deteriorate, with the harshness of that weather, and get very dirty, and then within a year or 2 years, the building looks quite old again, So for the ground level, I didn't care because it's accessible, very easy to paint. You don't need to get scaffolding, I guess. And it's protected by the elements around it with the houses and that. But at the second level, it's where it's going to be quite harsh. So I think the appropriate material to use was some sort of metal material where it can be easily hosed or easily cleaned. So ColourBond corrugated iron was actually a great material to use. Not the standard corrugated iron, but a corrugated iron that has a foam of an R3.5 behind it. So it's quite indurating as well. So if it heats up, it can cool down very quickly. And the other advantage is the tradesmen that do the roofing, the plumber, I guess if you want to call him, that does the roofing, can actually do the cladding. So you've got one person quoting for one whole lot of a job, I guess. I've used a parapet on this side and render on this side. Being the north side, I can get away with it here. And I guess to articulate the building a little bit more, so that it's not too dark at the top. So that's the response. I've created like a parapet here, more just to cover the solar panels so they're not visible. I didn't think another angle would go here, so I thought the 2 of them cascading this way actually works quite well. The alfresco, going to the alfresco, so of course, like I mentioned before, this is 2 living spaces up the top and at the bottom, and here's where the meals area, the kitchen is just behind here. I haven't put it in yet, but again, they're going to have a direct connection to the alfresco. So the alfresco faces south, of course. I didn't want to. We made a decision with the client to move it away from this side because to take advantage of whatever sun we can into these spaces here. So we can control the west sun. I mean, there will be homes along this boundary here where it'll cast quite a lot of shadow anyway. So whatever sun we can get through is a bonus, I guess, there. The pool's on the west side. It's probably where the pool should be here in Australia because the pool we use with family and friends is during the afternoon. So you want to capture as much west sun or much sun as you can in the afternoon. If you had it on the other side, and I'll just give you an example, it's all under shadow. So at least at 4 o'clock, if you're swimming, you're still getting some nice sun coming in through the side of the building. And filtering through into the spaces as well. The laundry, the pool is here. We have a thoroughfare leading into the laundry and the powder room. Powder room has a shower in it, so it's used as like a pool house or a toilet for the pool, so people are not walking through the home. The laundry itself is located again next to the pool as well, so that all the dirty clothes can be put straight into the laundry. The house, the site itself has an angle around about a 1.4 degree, 1.4 meter drop, close to 2 meter drop. So thus I've designed it as split level, so that on this part of the home you're stepping down closer to the ground here, and as you sort of go throughout the building you're stepping up onto this side of the building. So being one level roof, you're going to enter into a 2700 ceiling coming down to 3.3 meter ceiling. So this is the design, guys. I hope you liked it. I want to thank everybody very much for the support on our YouTube channel. We've hit, I think, 18,000 subscribers now. We're coming close to 20,000 now. So please continue to watch, and please leave your feedback. Tell me what you thought about this video, and if you've got any questions, or maybe something that I should have done in the design and responded to. I really appreciate the feedback. Okay, thank you very much. Continue to watch the video. They'll be playing now the animation and with a bit of music behind it and showing off the 3D renders of views that I've created. As you see, I've created the scenes here, and I've got some views going on at the moment that I've started to render, which you'll see in the animation very soon. So continue to watch. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a nice day.